CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating the Difference. I wanted to go a little bit deeper in talking about pin up versus pin down and do some other core shapes. We want to talk a little bit about some of the asymmetric core shapes and the numbers and how the numbers will change and what that means. So we're going to start this time by looking at some of the numbers of a bowling ball that we've already got drilled here. It's drilled 5 by 60 by 65, which happens to make it pin down, as you can see. And I have the RG values for this bowling ball, as well as the intermediate differential and the total differential. So let me kind of explain that real quick, what we're looking at here. So basically, the minimum RG value is 2.487, which means the value under the pin, the axis through the pin, is 2.487. The other thing that kind of matters is the difference between the high, which is the max, minus the min, which you know as overall differential, which we know that to be 0.53 in this ball. And then the last is the difference between the high number and the middle number, which is known as the intermediate differential or mass bias, which in this case is 17. So with this particular ball that's been drilled, we've actually been able to see kind of what the numbers that we have here are. This ball drilled is 2.487 with the 0.53 differential, with the 17 intermediate differential. Now we're going to go back to our little shot simulation that we've done in the past, and we're going to run the simulation, and we're going to look and kind of see what type of performance that gives us on this lane. So basically, the total boards of hook here are 13.34 inches. And that's just kind of gives us a baseline. So this is the baseline for the performance of this bowling ball given this particular drilling. Now, go back to the bowling ball, and we're going to change this number here because this is going to make the ball go from pin down to pin up. And we're going to watch some of these numbers down here change as well. So the one that people like to kind of focus on is the intermediate and the overall differential. So we're going to watch these two numbers down here, the 53 and the 17, change when we drill this bowling ball again. So now we're going to drill the ball, and the numbers down here go to 19 and 56. So both numbers have increased. The intermediate differentials went up a little bit, as well as the total differential, and the RG has changed slightly as well. Now, you can also see that the core has been impacted in a slightly different location. And this core is a very asymmetric core, so that's one of the reasons why we decided to use it, because it has a lot of differences in its appearance. So we've got a little bit of change down here, right? And what we'll do now is we will go back over to the shot simulation. And remember, we originally started out with 13.34 boards or inches of total hook. And we'll run the simulation again just to see how much difference that makes. So now we're going to go from 13.34 to 13.1. So effectively, there's no difference. I mean, if you could see this amount of difference on the lane, then you are beyond superhuman, because effectively there is no measurable difference in terms of total amount of hook when it comes to drilling these bowling ball in these two different configurations. Now, we do see some numerical change here, but one of the things that I've always found interesting is there's never really been a good correlation between the value change, the numerical value change, and performance. So is there a big difference between a 56 and a 55, or does it have to be a 56 and a 30 to make a difference? No one's really, in my opinion, been able to quantify that. And I think that's one of the reasons why there tends to be a lot of confusion in bowling, especially when you start talking about cores. So that's kind of a little bit of a comparison there for this particular core shape, but I also wanted to do another one because some of the things that kind of get brought up are, hey, well, what if it's a different type of core? Like, obviously you did an asymmetric core here, but what if you did an even different, more of a variable core? So you're like, well, what does that look like? Well, let's go grab a paradox, because a paradox happens to be a little bit different in the fact that it has multi-densities in the inner piece. So let me show you what that looks like. So here we go. You can see the core. You've got the green piece is one of the core pieces, and then the blue piece is actually a different density piece that's put into the core. And you can see where they intersect here that the blue actually comes and goes in, whereas the green is kind of what's still left there. So you can see that there's some differences in the core shape. So we're going to use this as the next example. We'll go back to 65. We will drill this ball, and boom. So you can see we hit some of the blue, some of the green there. The ball is pinned down, so the same configuration, and the numbers are now 2.479. That differential is 0.54, and the intermediate is 0.21. Go back to the simulation. We're going to run the simulation again. And this bowl has a total hook of 14.14 boards, or 14.14 inches. Okay, well, let's go back. Let's go back over to the ball and change it again and get it back in that pin up configuration, right? So we'll make this a 40. That will put the pin up. We will hit the core in a different spot, like so. So now you can kind of see we definitely have, with the thumb hole specifically, have hit the core in a different spot. The numbers have changed slightly again, right? So 2.478. The total diff is now 58, and the intermediate diff is 24. So we've got some change there. Let's go over here to the shot simulator. We went 14.14 inches. And now we're going to do the simulation, and we're going to see what kind of change we get. So now we're at 13.67. So there's some change there. Now it happens to be less than half an inch, right? That's less than half a board from where we were. So once again, I would have to tell you, like, if you can tell the difference in a half a board, then you're probably beyond a professional bowler's ability to repeat shots. And this is assuming that you can repeat the shot, which obviously, you know, as a human, that's very, very hard to do, even at the highest level. But in the simulation, we're getting less than half an inch difference, and it doesn't appear to matter whether we have a dual density inner core piece or a single density asymmetrical inner core piece. We're seeming to get very, very little differences in actual performance, right? Actual total boards of hook. And we are seeming to get, even though we do get some difference in the actual numbers. So the numbers are actually changing here, but the numerical change doesn't really translate to a lot of performance difference over here. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that, give you a little bit more information, something more to consider. Obviously, we like to be able to educate as best as possible. This is one example of us being able to give you some information using this program. If you have more questions, if you want some more information, if you want to see us do some other variations of this, we'll be more than happy to do that as well. And as always, education is part of what we do at Creating the Difference. So make sure you check us out at ctdbowling.com. Like and subscribe to this channel. Ronald Hicklin, CEO from Creating the Difference. Have a great day.